Okay, welcome everyone, and I hope you can hear me fine. I will be checking the chat off and on, and I know Luis is going to help support me with that. So yes, I am Ericka Tinsley. Thank you so much for that great introduction, Luis. And today we're going to talk about making accessible courses for users who are visually impaired using Google Forms. So I'm someone who is not super traditional when it comes to my teaching style. And as mentioned, I'm a teacher of the visually impaired. So when I took instructional design courses, my audience was a unique audience in that my audience uses screen readers and other accessibility tools to access information. So let's go ahead and get started here. So the purpose of this presentation is to explore how instructional designers and course instructors can create Google Forms that are accessible to blind and low vision learners using screen readers and other assistive technologies. The reason why I started using Google Forms. Story number one, I learned to modify assessments when I was working with a high school student with a visual impairment. So I had a student who was, I guess you consider totally blind. She only had light perception, so she couldn't see any fine detail. And she needed a way to complete information assignments with her peers. So we tried the Braille thing, and Braille is wonderful, so I'm not speaking anything, against it, but this is more technology focused. We tried Braille, but the turnaround on some of the assignments was kind of long. So we had a Braille transcriptionist. I would send the information to her, or I would, use an embosser in my room and emboss the assignments. Well, the way, schools are presenting information now, we have laptops, we have computers, we have a lot more electronic presentations of information. So by the time I had the information brailled, they were on to the next lesson. So we had to figure something out. Long story shortened, the student used a refreshable braille device, note taker, and I connected it to an iPad. So once it was Bluetooth connected to the iPad, she was able to, get links to the assignments, use it, fill out whatever information she needed. And I was working with a nice, young, fresh mind right out of college. And she's like, yeah, I use Google Forms. And I'm like, okay, tell me more. So she actually came up with the idea. She said, I'm going to use this Google form with this student. I'm going to make all of my students use Google Forms for assessments. I was like, brilliant, this is great. That way the student can use their device to access the form and can turn in assignments. She presented assessments that way. Any assignments she had, she used alt text. This girl was amazing. So from there, I was hooked. So we started working together to modify the assignments electronically using Google Forms. Excellent, excellent idea. Second instance was when I took my instructional design course. Again, me with the unique audience, my colleagues who I work with, some of them also have visual impairments. So I did deploy a course on, I have to get the name of it, but it was another platform. And I don't want to say the name because I don't want to, make the platform look bad because all of them have their perks. But this specific platform, one of my colleagues could not access using the screen reader. So I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know why I didn't think of that, but learning curves. I went to the Google form, upload all the information, uploaded it. He was able to, actually, two of them were able to successfully complete the course. So let's go ahead and look at some of the goals for this presentation. So we're going to understand the impact of visual impairments as they relate to digital accessibility. We're going to understand the common barriers for screen reader users. We're going to apply UDL, which is Universal Design for Learning strategies, creating forms that are navigatable, perceivable, and usable for all learners. So let's just lightly get into what visual impairments are and low vision. So the definition is basically a person who has some usable vision but it cannot be corrected fully with glasses, contacts, or surgery. For example, they experience difficulty reading normal print, recognizing faces, or seeing street signs. Some support tools include magnifiers, large print, high contrast, screen zoom, auditory input, and feedback and efficient lighting, and so much more. So with low vision, they may see the screen of a device, but they may struggle with small fonts, low contrast, or cluttered layouts. Also brightness, glare, or experience visual fatigue. So some of the tools, include screen magnifiers, zoom functions, high contrast mode, etc. Also, they can use large print keyboards or keyboards with large print stickers on them. On-screen keyboards, they also use regular keyboards, by the way. Bold text, dark mode on devices, and auditory input and output. So for an individual who is has total blind, who is totally blind, or experiences total vision loss, that includes people who are legally blind or have no usable vision. So they may have no light perception or only light and shadow awareness. Some of their support tools include screen readers like VoiceOver or JAWS, braille displays, tactile graphics, and they may rely on non-visual strategies for learning, including tactile and auditory. These individuals also cannot rely on visual information at all. So they interact with devices, again, screen readers such as VoiceOver, TalkBack, JAWS, and NVDA. Keyboard shortcuts are helpful, gesture-based navigation or voice commands, also braille displays or voice input such as Siri and Google Assistant. So let me go ahead and check the chat because I'm just kind of going on before. I want to just make sure. Okay, so I'm just checking the chat to see if anyone has any comments. All right, looks like we're good on that. Yes. All right. So key accessibility features in Google Forms. So Google Forms is screen reader friendly. It supports keyboard navigation. You have form fields like radio buttons and text boxes. They're also labeled so screen readers can announce them. Forms are compatible with most browsers and assistive tech tools. And you can also add image, alt text, and section headers for better structure. Now, they don't, from my end, I don't see an official alt text feature, but you can always just kind of write it in there in the description area. But we'll see, when we start playing around, because we are going to do some hands-on today. All right, so how screen readers interact with forms. So you have VoiceOver, for example, which is what I primarily use because in the county I work in, my department was one-to-one with iPads. So that's why I pretty much, kind of focus on use of iPads with my students. But VoiceOver, it uses simple swipe gestures and rotors to move through fields. VoiceOver announces checked or text field or button to guide the user. You also have TalkBack, that's on Android. So users can swipe to navigate and double tap to select. TalkBack describes each form element. You also have NVDA and JAWS. So NVDA is free. You can donate if you want. So all this is accessible to you all financially as well, in that you can go to the website, and I did link a lot of the resources, and we'll get to that. NVDA, with JAWS, they do require a license, but you can get a free download that I believe is like 40 minutes per day. So if you want to practice using JAWS, you definitely can do that. But what you would do is use your tab and arrow keys to move through fields. Both screen readers speak forms, labels, error messages, and instructions very clearly.
Hey, Ericka, just really quick, Kim had a question about what is rotor?
Oh, so we're the rotor on on VoiceOver is it just gives you additional functionality, and you'll see when I link some of the resources on an iPhone, for example, you take your finger and you turn it clockwise or counterclockwise to access more feature. So let me show you while we're at it here. Let me turn on Do Not Disturb.
Okay. Do not disturb is now on.
Okay. So turn on voiceover.
Okay. I turned voiceover on.
All right. So I turned voiceover on, and this is interesting because I programmed my voice into the iPhone settings mode. So it sounds like it's supposed to sound like me. So it's going to be a little difficult to demonstrate here, but I'm going to try it. You can swipe through, right? So I'm going to unlock my device.
11:17 a.m.
All right.
Verifications at COP 12
Okay.
camera. Double tap to open.
I can take my finger and I have a screen also.
And T, lowercase.
Do you see that little, I guess it's like a rotor, like a dial, rotary dial that pops up? Let me know.
100 unread email. Calculator. Lowercase.
So that's what it does. That basically, when you can swipe through with your finger.
And that's why. And I. Camera. Double tap T.
Okay, sorry, I turned the rotor on. But anyway, I'm going to show you later. I don't want to get too deep in the woods. But when you swipe through on the device, you have the option of turning clockwise or counterclockwise to access more information. So that's what it means. I'm sorry, I'm not able to see the chat here. Yes, it's like a little starburst like thing. Cool. I need to know how you made your voice. Yes, okay, I can share that with you. I think I have it on my YouTube channel, by the way. I do have a YouTube channel with everything in here. Someone says JAWS is 40 minutes per session. You don't have to wait 24 hours. If you reboot your computer, you can have another 40 minutes. Yep, that is true. All right, so let me turn this off. Turn off voiceover. All righty.
Voiceover is now off.
Good. Okay, so I'll just catching up. So does that explain it? And if anybody in the chat wants to also add, I'm more than welcome to your information.
Okay. It's now on.
Hey, turn the voiceover off.
Okay. I turned voiceover.
All right. Here we go. So my phone wants to join the presentation here. So how screen readers interact with forms. So you have heading levels in Google Forms with VoiceOver. So VoiceOver uses heading levels like, for example, heading level 1, heading level 2, heading level 3, and that's to help blind users quickly navigate through sections of a form. Google Forms automatically uses heading level 1 for the form title. Section titles are typically announced as heading level 2. And users can use the rotor, what we just demonstrated, to jump between headings for faster navigation. So why it matters is proper heading structure helps VoiceOver users understand the layout and skip to key parts of the form without having to swipe through every item. Okay. Now, to use, you can use the rotor to navigate headings. You can turn the rotor, as we just showed. You use 2 fingers and rotate them on the screen like turning a dial clockwise or counterclockwise. You'll hear VoiceOver say options like characters, words, headings. You can select headings, and there you will stop turning when you hear headings, and then this will set your navigation mode to headings only. So then when you start swiping, it'll just navigate via headings. Swipe up or down with 1 finger. So you would swipe on the screen down or up to jump to the next heading. Swipe up to jump to the previous heading, and then VoiceOver will announce the heading text and its level. So it'll say heading level 1, about you, for example. So why it's useful, this lets users jump quickly between sections of a Google form or a web page without reading everything line by line. So tips for designing inclusive questions and layouts. So you use clear, simple language. You label all your fields properly. Avoid using click here. You can avoid relying on color alone. So you use text cues as well. You use consistent formatting. So questions first and then the options. Use section headers to break content into smaller logical parts.
Accessibility and course design, screen reader friendly practice quiz, heading level 1.
This is just a
This
demo.
one assesses your understanding of key principles for designing accessible digital learning experiences for blind and low vision users. Question 1. What is the most important reason to use proper color and style to the content? Radio button, unchecked. 1 of 3, required. To help screen reader users navigate the page more easily. Radio button, unchecked. 2 of 3, required. Checked. Saving. To make the page look more organized. Radio button, unchecked. 3 of 3, required. Question 2. Which of the following are best practices for making a Google form accessible to screen reader users? Select all that apply. Description, required question, heading level 3. Star, description, 25 point. Question 2. Which of the following are best practices for making a Google form? Checked. Use simple, clear instructions. Draft saved. Check. Label all form fields clearly. Descript, draft saved. Checked. Saving, draft saved. Question 3. Which of the following screen readers is built into Apple devices like iPhones and MacBooks? Description, required question. Stop 20, select 25 points, selected. Question. This is a required question. Talkback, JAWS, voiceover, list, voiceover, required. Question 4, according to the paragraph below, which feature is used to describe images for screen reader users? Inaccessible course design. It's according to the star, 25 points, according to the paragraph, insertion cap, T, space, alt, text, is, toolbar, done, draft, submit, button, submit, dimmed. Your response has been recorded. You score, link. Accessibility and course design, screen reader friendly practice quiz, total points, 75/100. Description, final score pending.
All right. So that kind of came up on me a little quick here, but I'm glad you guys were able to follow along. So I'm checking the comments here. I love how how I included the demo. Of course, I wanted you all to see how at first I'm holding the device and how a user would use it to swipe, use their fingers to swipe on the screen. And then of course brought it closer into view so you can see exactly what was going on here. Someone says, Maureen says, I loathe TalkBack. The double tap doesn't work for me. Yeah, I prefer Apple products. I don't work for them. I am an Apple coach. I don't work for them, but it seems to be a little bit more robust when it comes to accessibility. Great. Thank you, Tanya. When creating an accessible quiz, is it necessary to include numbers or letters before the answer options? You will find out when we do our little practice, hands-on practice. You have to a user relies on information. So if I'm navigating a quiz, for example, and I say I complete number 1, I skip number 2, I go on to number 3, but I want to go back, it is essential for me to know which one I need to go back to. So if I say, okay, I make a mental note, I want to skip number 3 and come back to it, it's essential to have the numbering system. So I think that would be helpful. It's one thing to learn about principles of accessibility and an absolute eye opener to view such a demo. Thank you. You are most welcome. And I'm not skipping some of you guys. They're kind of coming fast. So I'm trying to 2 birds, 1 stone, like do the presentation and read. So we're good. I appreciate all the comments. Great. The next one I'm going to show you how you can do the same thing. So you can use finger swipes or gestures on the screen of a device or you can also use a keyboard. So I'm just demonstrating with an iPad in this video, but of course you have other options as well. We'll go ahead and check that one out.
iPad Accessibility 101, a course for teachers instructing learners with visual impairments. Sample, heading level 1, Instructional Design Framework, heading, list start. Framework for instructional design. Universal Design for Learning, UDL, key. Why it fits. UDL focuses on creating flexible learning experiences that meet the needs of all learners, including those with disabilities, by designing a Google Forms course to be accessible for blind and low vision users, e.g., screen reader friendly structure, labeled form fields, clear navigation. It provides multiple means of representation. Continue to next section if you want to advance to the next portion of the module. Course Introduction. Module 1, Module 2, Visual Impairments and Accessibility. Course outline star. https://draft save Apple link list start landmark. iPad course checklist. Download link. Open close button. iPad 101 checklist 5 PNG. Comments button. More options. iPad 101 checklist 5 PNG. Image 5.png. While instructing learners with visual impairments. iPad Accessibility 101. A course for teachers. Course checklist. Module 1. Visual impairments. Types of visual impairments and eye conditions. How visual impairments impact students in the classroom. Resources, heading level 2, Take Flight with iPad, Teacher's Guide, heading level 2, https://books.apple.com, Applepad, button, next, Module 1, Visual Impairments, heading, list start. Course outline, heading level 3, course outline, selected, activities and objectives overview. In this module, we will explore various eye conditions that can impact students' access to academic materials in class. Heading level 2, module assessments. Design a visual aid highlighting visual conditions. A quiz that tests teachers' basic knowledge of eye conditions and visual acuities. Heading level 2. Watch the types of visual impairments video below. Play button. Pause keyboard shortcut.
Common types of visual impairments and eye conditions. What is considered normal vision?
Types of visual impairments and eye conditions quiz. Question 1, heading, list complete the following quiz. What is considered normal vision? Description, required question, heading level 3. Star, description, required question, heading level 3. When light rays focus around the retina, radio button, unchecked, 1 of 2, required. When light rays focus around the retina, required. When light rays focus directly on the retina, radio button, check, 2 of 2, required. When light rays focus directly on the retina, list N, required. Back, button, next, button, next.
All right. So that was yet another demonstration of how users can use, how learners can use keyboards to navigate as well. So you have several options. You have the option of using a mobile device, which is accessible for most people who have access to them. You have the browser that they can use to pull up the form, or if they have another mobile device, because an iPad is pretty mobile as well. Or you can use a MacBook or again, PC with other programs such as JAWS and NVDA. And also Windows, they have their own voiceover, or not voiceover, but screen reader technology. Some of the comments. Okay, so we got that one. Okay, so let me check. I'm trying to catch up here. Let's see. Demo is excellent. Great. Thank you. One thing. Okay. I like how VoiceOver told there was 3 radio buttons and it told the user which one they were. Excellent. Yep. So when you are working with, I guess, learners, who are visually impaired, you do have to, some of them come with the knowledge, prior knowledge, but you do have to familiarize yourself with how the screen is laid out and what they are to listen for. So, as instructional designers, when we are kind of giving our preview of how the course goes and that kind of stuff, that is something essential that you need to share with your learners. I said you were using both the keyboard and some gestures swiping, and this one is great. Yep, that's it. I wanted to let you all know there are several options. And I don't know, little known fact, there is also an option for using your voice. So it's on my YouTube channel, and I will share that later. But I had a client who couldn't use gestures, had difficulty using a keyboard, and he was just like, can I do something voice activated for voiceover? Yes, you can. Under accessibility on iOS, you can, and iPadOS, you can go into accessibility and use your voice. You can say swipe right, swipe left, and voiceover will respond. So lots of great options. That's why I like Apple. That's exactly why I like. How did you embed the video in Google Forms? There is an option for video. So I'll definitely, when we get some hands-on time, I'm going to have like a 10-minute break for us to play around. I'll make a note of that and kind of let you see how that works. All right, so tips for designing inclusive questions and layouts. Alt text, again, short for alternative text, is a written description of an image that tells the screen reader users what the image shows. Why it is important is to help blind or visually impaired users understand images, makes content more accessible and inclusive, and also used if the image doesn't load. Tips for designing inclusive questions and layouts. Again, good alt text is short and specific. For example, an image, the alt text for an image could say student using a laptop at a desk. So that describes the purpose of the image and not just what's in it. Sometimes you can be more specific, especially if someone needs more descriptive information regarding, say it's the cell, it's a science quiz and they really need more granular information. You can definitely, use more words there. But in general, for decorative, information or something that's a little less relevant, you can use fewer sentences. So tips for designing inclusive questions and layouts. Again, writing good alt text checklist. You can describe the important content of the image. Keep it short and clear, so 1 to 2 sentences max. Don't say image of or picture of, because screen readers already say image or, what have you. So they already say that. This is redundant. Focus on what the image adds to the content. I don't know. I got to take handout version of this. That was some notes from earlier. So I will fix that in the post. All right. So tips for designing inclusive, good alt text examples, a teacher helping a student read Braille. 1, or an iPhone screen showing a voice over settings menu. What's not helpful is image or screenshot or nice picture of a student. Very vague. All right, real world examples and best practices. Instead of select all that apply, you can use a checkbox grid with clear labels. You can also use required field indicators like with the asterisk with explanations required so that screen readers read them aloud. You can add descriptive text before complex items like drop downs, and you can pilot your form with a screen reader user to identify navigation issues before publishing. I also do that with on my own. That's how I find a lot of stuff. And even with my day job, if I'm reading like IEPs or, anything that I've written, I will just turn on the audio and I'll listen, because when I'm reading, I still miss stuff as a sighted person. But when I'm listening, it seems like it's like that second layer of security almost, right? And I'll say, oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. And I'll go back and make changes. So if you have someone that you can pilot your different courses with who is visually impaired, I definitely recommend that. All right, I'm going to go back before I move on. Someone said, I think it's Carolyn says, curious about images that might be super dense, like a picture of a graph or maps. How would you do alt text for that? Whoa. Yeah, so I have several strategies, but if a person is totally blind, some of those graphs need to be tactile if you have enough time. But if we're talking just the straight up environment where there is, the student or learner is using a computer, you would just really have to be very, very specific. I typically, this is a hack, guys. I use AI. I'll take the image and I'll upload it to ChatGPT. I have ChatGPT Plus, which I completely love and recommend. I use it every day. And I just ask it. So I train my GPT to give me specific information. It's not always accurate, but it takes out 90% of the work. So I upload it and say, I'm preparing a course for a blind person, and can you please look at this image and give me, information on how I can present this in a course or something. I'm just giving you some samples that you can use, but try to run it a couple times. Think about all the elements that a blind person would need to know when they are navigating that course and navigating those graphs. And because back in the day, I had to go and physically, manually make that into a tactile graphic, and we still use those as well. But like I mentioned, as we're going more digital, you have to find ways to pivot. So that's just my little hack there. Yes, I've used it that way too, says I think it's Caitlin. I don't know if I'm calling Carolyn. The chat is going kind of fast. I've used it that way too. Such a time saver and usually does better than me. I'm telling you, Caitlin, I have offloaded a lot of my work to ChatGPT and other platforms. Let's see, you can tell ChatGPT what it is you are wanting to do and it'll prompt it. Yep, definitely. You can also use a short description for the image. It says a graph depicting, and then next to or beneath the image, give a long description. Yep, very good, Jacob. And then Caitlin, someone added Caitlin and said, I saw a blog post about doing alt text for complicated images this morning. Haven't read it yet, though. Thank you for sharing that. All right, perfect. So we finished this. Let's go on to our next slide.
Hey, Ericka,
Yeah.
just there was one from Lindsay who asked, should alt text always have punctuation?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to. No, I missed that. I'm sorry. I'm two birds, one stone, but thank you, Luis. So practical adjustments for accessibility to ensure the course was fully perceivable, navigatable, and engaging for visually impaired learners. Several key adjustments were made. Speaking of courses that I made, layout and structure. The form used a logical flow, clear headings, and consistent formatting. Each second section was labeled to help screen readers users understand where they are in the form. Alt text and descriptions, all images and icons included meaningful alt text or were marked decorative if not essential, and this ensures screen readers get the same information as sighted users. And you will see that in my demo because I did have some images where there was a woman holding a phone close to her eyes and she had her glasses up. And I had to basically explain what was going on in the photo for a user to be able to answer that question. All right, so interaction design, form controls such as radio buttons, check boxes, drop downs were labeled clearly so screen readers like VoiceOver, TalkBack, NVDA, and JAWS could announce them accurately. Only necessary fields were marked required to avoid confusion. Keyboard navigation, the form could be completed entirely by keyboard with logical tab order and no visual instructions, visual only instructions. Engagement features added helpful context for each question, such as this is a required question, and use simple language to reduce cognitive load, making it easier to engage with and complete. And I mean, the This is a required question that already comes up in the setting. So, it's not necessary to kind of add that. All right, so let's take 10 minutes. Go to my website, www.elearningwithericka. So Ericka is spelled ERICKA.com. I'm going to drop it in the chat and we're going to play around. So what I want you to do, let me see, should I pull it up? Okay, when you go to my site, maybe I should pull it up. Let me put it in here. I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna put it in the chat, www.elearningwithericka.com. Okay, so I put it in the chat. And what we are going to do is play around with some sample forms. So there we go. All right, Luis, I think I need, do you see my browser still, Luis? Or do I need to change tabs?
Nope, I see it. Looks great. There
Okay,
you
so
are.
when you go here, you see where it says you can practice using screen readers with Google Forms here, and then there's a link, https://forms.gle/. It's a lot of letters and words, but let me put that in the chat too. Let me put it in the chat. That way I don't have to say all that. All right, so this is the practice form as well, but I put it on my site. That way you can come back to it another time. All right, so we've got that. Oh, yeah, thank you, Julia. I just noticed that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Can you reshare the link? I don't see it. All right, thank you, Julia. Thank you. So let's take 10 minutes. I'm going to put the timer on like we do in school because we're going to pretty much be at the end after that. So let's take 10 minutes and practice. Take any of your, here we go. So this is my version here. Did you see that accessibility practice form, Luis?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. All right. So this is what you're going to see. I have a sample Google Forms course. I have an escape room, which is the fun part of gamifying everything. We're kind of running out of time, but I put that on there for you guys to check out later. Form quizzes, the one that I showed in the video. And then I have some instructionals. One is how to make an escape room using Google Forms, how to make a quiz using Google Forms. And then I have all these different options. So for VoiceOver, if you're on iOS, you've got those options, how to turn it on, basic navigation. For TalkBack, if you're on Android, it shows basic navigation there. NVDA, if you have time to download it and try it. And then you have JAWS as well, same. So after that, you can use this form to practice, put some super simple questions on here so you can practice your screen reader gestures, okay? All right, so I'll give you guys, let me set my timer. Where is my presentation? It's here, and let's start. And let me know if y'all have any questions or anything. I'm going to check the chat too.
Just a quick thing, Erica, that the chat audience pointed out in the webinar chat area, you have an option to either post your messages to everyone or to
Oh,
panel. And so it might be that when you had posted your link originally that it just went to me and you.
yeah, I see it now. I see
Okay.
it now. It was the panelists. So yeah, thank you. That's why Julia had my back. Thank you, Julia. I'm like, I'm posting all this stuff and then nobody's getting it. But Julia had my back. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So we have 9 minutes. I will be checking the chat. Let me know if y'all have any questions because when we're done with that, we'll be wrapping it up. So this is your time for hands-on activity. Go to the bathroom real quick, grab a drink, and come back and try something from the list. All right, we're about to hit 30 seconds and we'll be wrapping up soon. Twenty seconds. Yes, Jacob, I agree. That's it. Time up. Time is up. Time is up. All right. So I hope you all had fun with that activity exploring. We have a few questions I wanted us to wrap up with, and if you don't mind either putting them in the one of the practice forms. I did this because not everyone had access to, not everyone used the same form. So one of the questions, what challenges did you notice while navigating the form with a screen reader? So think about clarity, labeling, or how easy it was to follow the structure. Number two, which accessibility features helped you understand or complete the form more easily? So for example, was it headings, alt text, question instructions, or field labels? And number three, what would you change or improve in your own course design after this experience? So consider how to better support blind or low vision learners in your materials. So I'll look in the chats and that'll kind of wrap us up a little bit. We have a couple more minutes. Let's see. Jacob, this has been great. Never considered using Google Forms for e-learning before. Yep. Desperate times called for desperate measures, and that young lady I have to credit, because young minds, those folks out of college and the kids that grew up on the internet are the ones that are navigating this, these waters for us. So I've been in it a long time and teaching for a long time, so I'm always open to learning new things. Kim says, I think this session has been an eye opener for many of us. I'm going to share this with my ID team. Please do. Yes. As we wrap up, Ting, hey Ting, love this hands-on activity. Great instructions to help people get started. Absolutely, absolutely. Good to see you here. Yes, I feel like this is left of the middle, it's outside of the box. A lot of and it's free. Imagine that. A lot of, when we went through our ID program, a lot of the focus was using pre-existing platforms that cost, have a lot of subscriptions associated with them. And granted, they have their place, because if you're working with a big school system or company, you're going to need the higher powered platforms. But if you need something simple, I think this is a good way to go. Tanya says, great insights and very inspiring. Thank you. You're most welcome. Terry, such a valuable session. Thank you. You're most welcome. Thank you for your help and the resources. Absolutely. All right. So if you want to wrap up, well, we only have 2 minutes. So those were the questions. Reflect on those on your own time. The conclusion is, when you are designing with inclusion in mind, creating accessible courses isn't about compliance. It's about empowering every learner by using tools like Google Forms with thoughtful structure, clear labels, alt text, and screen reader friendly practices. We ensure that blind and low vision users can engage fully and independently. So as educators and designers, we have the opportunity to remove barriers and build inclusive learning experiences from the start. So let's continue to design with empathy, accessibility, and excellence in mind. Thank you all so much for being here. And thank you, Louise, for allowing me to present as well.
Thanks, Erica, and thanks, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.